The front, Brent?
Coach Sumlin talked about how nice it was to have Stephen Jenkins back, not just physically, but from a leadership perspective. So I would imagine you would agree with that.
I would absolutely agree with that. Jinx played pretty well in this game last year. Played pretty well last year for his period. But just to have that confidence out there. I felt it yesterday to have that confidence out there on the field of I don't know if you want to call it a little bit of swag or a little bit of confidence. You just felt it permeating out the courts yesterday, so it was really good.
It's only one game to look at. We can talk about the care to see better where
I've seen enough of him. One game. I've seen about a million games on him. He is a leader. He runs their offense. He knows where his check downs are, and obviously he's a great leader for them because they've won a lot of football games. And he drives that engine. He's the guy that's driving the car. And you see his poise and patience, and it's hard to get him rattled. And if you do get him rattled a little bit, he has the ability to go over and sit down and get unrattled and come back out and play his game. That's what I see.
Good time for one or two more. Coach Suzanne here in the middle.
Hey Mark, I was just looking at the depth chart. Can you talk about what's going on at Sam Becker? Is Jordan going to be the starter for this one?
Yes.
And are you going to get ODO on
Yeah. Trainer here?
that? Don't know.
Don't
Okay.
find out when we get to practice today.
We'll go right over here and we'll finish on the left side out.
Mark, how did you handle the reps for the suspended players in camp? Did they get a lot of?
They did.
Okay.
Yeah, they did. They still went with the ones that tried to get that cohesion going, before the suspensions hit. And then once we got into game week, then we had to start them into the reps. So there was a 2-week period there where we got as many reps as we could, but we had so many young guys that needed the reps, we couldn't take it that was going to be playing. We couldn't take reps away from them to give to the guys that were not playing, if that makes sense. But yeah, during fall camp, we went, that first group all worked together, knowing that this day would come at some point in time.
Left side out there.
Coach, I got questions about 3 of the freshmen that have looked pretty good the last couple of weeks. Claiborne, Golden, and Arnold.
And Jay?
Yeah, Jay, yeah. Any idea how those guys may be used in terms of rotating this weekend?
Yeah, we're going to have a plan. It depends on how the game goes. I can't sit here and answer that right now. We got to kind of figure out how this game goes.
Finishing with Brent here in the front.
Two-parter. So what is it you see in Jordan to give you that kind of faith at this point?
Well, he's our best viable option right now. He's a big, strong kid. He's a smart kid. We're playing against a very big tight end, a couple of big tight ends. So we feel like he gives us the best chance.
And I don't know if the word is fun, but how much fun or however you would describe it, to see what Nate asked you did. And
Yeah, it was good. I was happy for Nate. Give him a little bit of success. And anytime you have success, you build a little bit of confidence. So I was happy for him.
I might have been surprised a little bit by Johnny's mobility. And this year we've seen that he's been a little bit better in the pocket against Alabama. This weekend, how important is it going to be for Johnny to stay in the pocket?
Well, they're a really, really good defensive football team, and I think he's going to have to be at his best. Whether that's staying in the pocket or running around or whatever he's doing or we're asking him to do, I think he's going to have to do it and do it at a high level.
Go the right side out of the gate.
Thanks. How important will it be to establish the run and help open things up for what you want to do in the passing game?
I think that's always important. When you establish the run game, it allows you to do some things in the past, but this is probably the best front we'll play all year, so I don't think it'll be easy for us to establish the run game. So we'll just have to see what happens.
Go front, Brent.
When you joined Coach Sumlin at Houston from Yates, at what point did he sell you on the up-tempo? Obviously it was right from the beginning, but what was it? Were you already doing something similar, or what goes into learning the up-tempo offense?
Well, before I joined with Coach Sumlin, Dana Hogerson and I coached in a All-Star game together, and he kind of alerted me to some things he wanted to do tempo-wise that they weren't doing at Tech. And once Coach Sumlin brought us together, it allowed us a chance to expand our tempo.
Back to the up-tempo offense, when people criticize it and complain about it, what do you think about that?
I think, you know, as long as the rules allow you to play up tempo, you're gonna have teams that play up tempo. When you look at football, whether teams don't play up tempo or not, when the game's on the line and there's a 2-minute situation, every team in the country is playing up tempo. So we just choose to use that as our entire offense and not just when the game's on the line the last couple of minutes.
Would you describe the recruiting change from when you got here to last off-season after y'all beat Alabama and won 11 games?
Well, I don't think it's changed a whole lot. When you go into a recruit in the state of Texas home and you're the only school in Texas that's playing in the SEC, I think that helps sell itself. Having the season that we had, I think before the season, I think there were a lot of recruits who were skeptical about, you know, how successful we could be in this league. But you know, having the season we were able to have on last year, I think has helped us a little bit with recruiting.
We're going to see you in the back.
Coach, everybody's talked about how good the Alabama defense is. What part of it in particular scares you the most? What is it you're having to scheme most against?
You know, I was just up there visiting with our coaches, and we're trying to find a weakness within the Alabama defense. And no matter where you look, there are no weaknesses. You know, those guys are solid across the board. They play hard, they play fast, they're big up front, they're athletic on the back end, they're experienced. We can't find any weaknesses.